In this video, we're going to go over Thor's power in God of War Ragnarok. Like my Odin and Atreus breakdowns, this is canon information only to God of War and God of War alone. We will not use the traditional myth. Many God of War fans truly underestimate how powerful Thor is and all the things that he has done in the God of War universe. And he may be the ultimate match for Kratos, and I'm here to prove that. The last video's trivia question was actually pretty difficult, but here are some users who got it right, and thank you for putting the right answer, and if you got it wrong, thank you for commenting as well. This video's trivia question is, in God of War 2018, the stonemason's son knew he wasn't going to survive his trip to Asgard, but he wanted to go anyways. Why? Type your answers now, and at the end, see if you're right or wrong. Also, please hit that like button, as YouTube really wants you to hit it. It really helps push the videos forward, so thank you for clicking it. It only takes 2 seconds. So let's get into Thor's power breakdown, and we're going to be focusing on his raw strength. Did you know Thor alongside Odin is destined to destroy Surtur once Ragnarok starts? This was said by Mimir.
Surt the Brave forged his sword of flame for one purpose alone: to burn down Asgard when Ragnarok comes at last. His destiny is to fall in the hands of Thor and Odin, but in so doing, strike the blow that leaves their realm in ash and ruin.
So the question is, how strong is the fire giant? Surtur was the second giant to ever exist following Ymir, and was the first fire giant to ever exist. He brings heat to all the cosmos in the 9 realms with his primordial flame, and the sword is powerful enough that it can destroy Asgard. Even though Odin would help Thor in this battle, Thor will destroy the fire giant, according to Mimir. Now, still focusing on his raw strength, we're going to talk about something that's a little bit more insane to think about. During the conversation with Freya, she tells us the serpent actually arrived in Midgard randomly one day. When it did, Thor attacked. The battle ended in a stalemate. However, she mentions one very important detail. When they fought, the battle could be felt across all the realms. Now, let me tell you why that's actually so insane and downright impossible. And thank you, Kev, for writing out this information. The realms are other worlds that exist on the world tree and are reflections of one another. They all exist on this tree. In chapter 51 of the God of War novel, it mentioned that the branches stretch towards infinity and they never stop. Mimir straight up tells us, in Helheim, each realm has its own flow of time. This means each realm has its own space-time. Some might be moving faster, some realms might be moving slower, and they all felt this battle at the same damn time. It's actually impossible, and it doesn't make any sense, but I think that's the point. The World Tree was even damaged during their battle in Ragnarok, and it's actually splintered, which made the serpent travel back in time because of Thor's final blow. Thor is so powerful, a single strike can threaten all of reality, damage time and space, and the very structure which holds literally everything together, past, present, and even the future. And remember, the World Tree stretches towards infinity. So the fact that all of the realms felt their energy is actually insane and pretty much impossible, but it happened. Even Kratos, when Mimir told him that Thor's attack was so strong that it sent the serpent back in time, even Kratos called this madness. Kratos knows that time travel exists because he's done it twice, but he needed a magical device to do it in God of War 2, while Thor just needed to be fighting and going all out. And I think this is why Kratos called it madness, not the thought of time travel, but the thought of Thor hitting something so hard it sent it back in time. But I get it's very hard to understand, so if you want to ignore the World Tree logic, you can look up Thor's lore in God of War 2018. He managed to rip off all the arms of an 8-armed giant. We saw this in a shrine. He snuck up on the giant who stole Mjolnir and killed that giant and every giant in that area, and the fact he was able to destroy all the giants in Midgard is a crazy show of strength in and of itself. The only time we saw something similar was with Kratos destroying all the gods and the titans, and I think feats like this should not be ignored. I hope this clears up exactly how strong he is, as the community really downplays Thor and underestimates him, but we aren't done. I want to mention some little things as well, some misconceptions. First off, yes, even though when the World Serpent first arrived in Midgard and the Serpent and Thor battled, it ended in a stalemate, but Baldur was able to knock out the Serpent. Now, the reason why this was a thing was because the Serpent was trying to protect Kratos and Atreus that was literally in his mouth. The Serpent had fought back, Kratos and Atreus would probably receive major damages as well. However, the Serpent did quickly recover, and we did see the Serpent attack Thor's puppet, so I think that it was actually a really cool way to show that the Serpent really cares about Atreus. Another thing I really want to clean up, and people love to bring this up, was that there was a story in the game where a giant fell on Thor, and Thor couldn't lift it up. Well, Mimir straight up tells us it's because that he was drunk. Thor was so drunk that he was actually useless and completely passed out. And in fact, it was Thor's two sons together when they were very young that actually lifted the giant when no other gods could do so. And if you think that Thor is weaker than Modi and Magni together, I think that you're just in denial, and honestly the thought is pretty silly. Another thing I want to bring up is that after Kratos in God of War 2 had his god powers drained and the statue fell on him, Kratos was very wounded, and it was a very important moment in God of War 2 where Kratos couldn't fight back against Zeus. However, when a giant fell on Thor, Thor was unfazed. He was just a little buzzed. In summary, Thor is the god of strength, and he's the god of strength for a reason. His strength could literally destroy the fabric of reality and damage it as he damaged the world tree in the future. Thor is pretty much the opposite of Kratos in this world. Kratos destroyed all the titans, Thor destroyed all the giants. They are polar opposites from one another, but at the same time, they're kind of the same in a way. They're both power hungry as Kratos was back in the day. They both have obviously family issues, and I think that the evolution of Thor in God of War Ragnarok, as he is the main protagonist alongside Freya, I think we're gonna see an evolution of Thor and really see his power put on display when he clashes against Kratos a few times. But that's gonna be it for this video. Now, the trivia answer was he wanted to talk to Freya. The stonemason's son wanted to talk to Freya. He didn't care how he was going to do it, just that he was going to do it. And the only thing he wanted to tell her was that there's a weakness in Asgard's walls, and Freya knows about this. When he was leaving the realm after he talked to Freya, Thor showed up, and he knew what that meant, but he didn't care, as his mission was accomplished. He put the seeds for the future in motion, and now Freya knows how to destroy Asgard's walls, which is very crazy to see how this is going to play out. But let me know if you got the answer right. Let me know if you got it wrong. Don't forget to hit like on this video. It really does help. I'ma be out of here. Thank you guys and girls for listening. Deuces.